Good morning to everyone. You are welcome to the field of science. Actually, if you're a candidate preparing to write your BECE, I advise you to subscribe to this channel, especially as science is concerned. Our initial episode, we are going to look at balancing of equation. Now let's look at the word balance equation. Balance equation. Now, we are saying that a balance equation is a type of an equation in which the number of atoms of the individual element at the reactant site are equal to that of the product side. So we are trying to say that every equation has two parts. Every equation has two parts, and these parts are the reactant and then the product. So if you have equation like this, let's say water, hydrogen plus oxygen maps to H2O. So now we are trying to say that this one is the what? This one is the reactant side, because the hydrogen is reacting with what? That of oxygen. So that is the reactant. And then if you come to this side, then that is the product side. So every equation has two parts, the reactant and then the product. So we are saying that an equation is said to be balanced when the number of atoms at the what? Reactant side are equal to that of what? The product side. So looking at this equation, hydrogen at the reactant side is 1 hydrogen atom. We have only 1 hydrogen. By the product side, we have what? 2 hydrogen. So it means it's not balanced. Now let's look at that of oxygen at the reactant side. At the reactant side, our oxygen is what? 1. Let's move to what? Our product side. Our oxygen is also what? 1. So we can say that this is balanced. But this is not a balanced equation, because the equation is said to be balanced when all the elements here, hydrogen at the reactant side, should be having the same number of atoms as compared to the hydrogen here, and so is the oxygen here as compared to the oxygen here. So we are saying that for us to now balance this equation, how do you do that? Now first of all, you have to look at the hydrogen. Look at the hydrogen here is 1. Now our hydrogen here is 2. So how? You can't clean the 2 here. You have to make sure that hydrogen here too is 2. What can you do to achieve that? The only thing you have to do is to just write 2 against this hydrogen. You can write 2 here as a subscript against the hydrogen. The reason being is that anytime we have 2 hydrogen coming together, they form hydrogen gas. That is why we have written it as what? A subscript here, but not at the back. If you write it at the back here or in front, you are not all that wrong, but it shows that you are a beginner and actually you don't know that 2 atoms of hydrogen comes to form hydrogen gas. Therefore, the best way to write it is this way. Now, after that, you are not done. Let's look at the oxygen. Oxygen is 1, and here oxygen is 1. Fine, someone may decide to leave it like this. If you leave it like this, fine, it's balanced. Because hydrogen here is 2, hydrogen here is 2, oxygen here is 1, and the oxygen here is 1. But if you understand balancing of equation, you will know that or it will tell you that this oxygen here is oxygen gas, because that is one of what the chemical properties of metals. We are saying that metals react with oxygen to produce metallic oxide. So if sodium is reacting with oxygen, it will produce what? Sodium oxide. Therefore, we need to make this what? This oxygen a gas. How do you do that? Just like the hydrogen, anytime we have two atoms of hydrogen coming together, we produce or we get hydrogen gas. The same way, when we have two atoms of oxygen coming together, we get what? Oxygen gas. Therefore, we can just write 2 as a subscript against this oxygen to make it oxygen gas. If you do that, it means oxygen here is not balanced. You proceeded making this oxygen 2, that is oxygen gas, but this oxygen is still 1. You can't just write 2 here against this oxygen. You know that here it was possible because this oxygen is alone, it's not attached to it, it's not a compound, it's a molecule, it's not attached to any compound. Now, how can you make this oxygen 2? The only way you can make this oxygen 2 is to write 2 or put 2 in front of the whole compound, because H2O is a compound. So you write your 2 here. If you put your 2 there, it means that the number of hydrogen have increased from 2 to 4, because this 2 is multiplying hydrogen and multiplying oxygen. So now we have 4. 2 multiplied by 2, that is 4. We have 4 atoms of hydrogen, and the 2 is also multiplying oxygen, and we have 2. So you have actually balanced that of oxygen here by making this oxygen 2, because of this 2. This 2 is affecting this oxygen 2. So this oxygen is now 2, but we have also increased the atoms of the hydrogen here from 2 to 4. So we will have to come back and look at the hydrogen. If here hydrogen is 4, here hydrogen is 2. So we have to make the hydrogen 4. What can we do? Then we have to put something, a number here, that will multiply 2, and it will sum up to 4. And that one will be over 2. If you put 2 here, 2 multiplied by 2, then we get what? We get our 4. We get our 4. So 2, 2, 4. And then if you come to the reactant, the product side, 2, 2, that is 4. And the oxygen 2, here is 2. And if you come to the product side, this 2 is affecting the oxygen. So the oxygen 2 is 2. Therefore, our equation is balanced. Brothers and sisters, thank you for this episode. As I said, try to subscribe day in and day out. You're trying to look at challenging questions. You look at almost all the science topics that you need to know as your BECE is concerned. Thank you very much.